In a post-apocalyptic world invaded by aliens that look and act exactly like us, who can you trust?
This is the question that 2016's young adult sci-fi drama The Fifth Wave asks. Today we'll recap and review the events of this adventure. Let's check it out.
In an autumnal forest, deep in the wilderness, a young woman, Cassie, armed with an assault rifle, runs along through the fallen leaves. Finding a gas station that appears to be abandoned, she goes inside and gathers supplies. Suddenly, she hears a call for help from nearby. Her guard is up and she raises her gun. As she enters the back room, she finds a man pointing a gun at her. He lowers it and reaches inside his jacket. She asks him what's in his hand, but he won't stop, and she shoots, killing him instantly. Checking his hand, she discovers he was only reaching for a crucifix. We flash back to a forgotten past, in the middle of a teen house party. Cassie is there, enjoying a standard fun Saturday night, chatting to Ben, a guy she obviously has a crush on. Later, she returns home and finds her dad asleep on the couch. She checks on her little brother Sam, who stirs, so she sings to him a soothing lullaby. Her voiceover tells us, unknown to her, this will be the last normal day of her life. The next day, at soccer practice, everyone starts looking at strange footage on their phones that appears to show a giant alien spacecraft floating in the sky above the USA. These silent visitors send no communication and earn themselves the nickname the Others. After a few days, people start packing up their things and getting ready to leave. Cassie's class is empty when suddenly the power goes out. Cars crash from the street and a plane eerily glides from the sky and plummets to Earth outside her school. She reveals the aliens have used an electromagnetic pulse to wipe out all power on Earth. She calls this the first wave. The second wave, it turns out, is literally a giant wave. Across the Earth, every body of water becomes a giant tidal wave. In Ohio, Cassie and Sam narrowly avoid a wave in their park, but the rest of the world is not so lucky. Mass devastation follows for every city as giant tsunamis tear them apart.
Now the third wave comes. This time, the Others have genetically engineered avian flu to make it unstoppable, creating a worldwide pandemic. Sound familiar?
Some are immune, some got infected and recover, but some, like Sam's mom, aren't so lucky, as we learn when we see the family lay flowers at her improvised tombstone. The family pack up and make for the woods to a new human settlement being constructed off-grid.
The settlement seems happy and the people are positive about this new start.
Even so, by night, Oliver gives Cassie a gun to keep her safe, and she realizes that they're still not safe. Of course, she's right, and the next morning, a distant rumbling is heard on the horizon, and bursting from the dust cloud comes the US military. Finally, some good news. The troops are led by Colonel Vosh.
He says they're there to help, but there's an uneasy feeling following this guy that's hard to ignore.
The army separates the settlers, putting the children on school buses and sending the parents for a briefing. Cassie is against it, but Oliver convinces her and Sam to get on their bus. Sam realizes, however, he's left his cuddly toy back in his bunk, so she rushes back to get it. However, while she's gone, the buses drive off. Cassie chases the buses as fast as she can, but there's nothing she could do. At the adults' briefing, Colonel Vosh tells everyone that military intelligence has revealed the Others have begun the fourth wave. They've come down to Earth and can apparently inhabit and control the bodies of humans in secret. The adults are confused and angry. One of them draws a gun on the soldiers, and before we know it, a massacre ensues. The soldiers shoot every adult, leaving none alive. Cassie hides in the woods, unable to block out the screams. She returns to look for her dad and finds his body lying among many others. Picking up a discarded rifle, she escapes into the woods, distraught. Meanwhile, the fleet of buses arrive at a military airbase. Here, we meet Ben again. His family have all died, and he's the only one left. He's earned the nickname Zombie. During a medical check, a military doctor tells him that he's a soldier now, that he has a chance to avenge his family. She injects something into his back. Is it some kind of tracking device? We don't know. She then shows him a little boy with a range of strange wires attached to his head. Through the x-ray, we see that his brain is host to an other. This strange, octopus-like creature has latched onto his brain. The doctor, who now seems much more like a soldier, gives Ben a button and orders him to kill the child. He hesitates at first, but then presses the button, and an electric shock fries the creature and leaves them both dead. Cassie is adapting to life in the wilderness, and we soon find her back at the point where we first met her, approaching the abandoned gas station.
Her voiceover reveals that she believes part of the Others' plan to wipe them out was to turn them against each other. We sense that she's quickly adapting to the new brutal way of life and becoming a hardened survivor.
She walks across a deserted highway, conscious of the strange floating drones that scan the sky. Walking among the ransacked cars and dead bodies, she's suddenly fired on by an unseen enemy. The bullet hits her leg and she hobbles away, firing blindly behind her with a pistol before passing out. Back at Colonel Vosh's military base, he has begun indoctrinating his new army of young soldiers. He delivers a rousing, militaristic speech calling on them to save the planet, which is intercut with moments of the children performing intense military drills and shaped into soldiers. Cassie wakes up in a strange but safe place. There's a drip attached to her arm and she's in a well-appointed bedroom. She hears footsteps outside and Evan enters. He reveals he found her by the road, brought her home, and patched her up. She's been passed out at Evan's house for a week. She asks him how far away Wright-Patterson military base is. Evan says it's not far, only 60 miles away. He reveals that he was unable to save his family, so he felt duty-bound to save her. Cassie is anxious, but he seems trustworthy, too sad to cause her any harm. At Wright-Patton, a new squad member joins Ben's squad, Ringer.
She's been kicked out of her last squad and gives off big bad girl energy. She's not here to be messed with.
At Evan's home, Cassie finds she could finally relax. There is warmth here, especially as she watches Evan chop wood outside. We sense her warming to him. That seems to be the case until she finds a loose floorboard and uncovers a pistol. Her pistol. Suddenly, she's overcome with an urge to get away, though she doesn't get far before triggering a noise trap and being caught by Evan. He skillfully disarms her and brings her home. He's convinced that Wright-Patterson is a high-priority target for the others and that the chances are her brother is already dead. Cassie won't believe him, of course, and decides she's going straight for the base. Evan insists he's going with her. So, the two of them pack up and get ready to hit the road. When they bond on the road, Cassie asks him to teach her the disarm he used on her. He shows her, taking care to be gentle with his demonstration. Zombie is summoned to meet with Colonel Vosh at Wright-Patterson. He tells him that major attacks have begun across the country. The fifth wave has begun. He reveals a new piece of technology that will enable their soldiers to immediately see who's controlled by an other and who isn't, and that his squad will be among the first to use them in combat tomorrow. By night, Cassie patches her wounded leg over while Evan looks on. Overhead, thunder cracks and Evan goes to leave.
Cassie stops him and kisses him, gently at first and then with more urgency as they put the tension between them to rest.
Meanwhile, Ben is experiencing a very different kind of tension as him and his squad load up into a helicopter for their assault. He tells his commander that Sam has food poisoning, though the real reason is he's spared the little boy this dangerous first taste of combat. The squad drops down into an urban space, their new helmets clearly revealing the others hiding in the skulls of their targets. They open fire and a rolling firefight across the deserted city streets ensues. The squad find themselves pinned down in a bus. One of their number is shot and killed. Ringer plants explosives in the bus and the squad escape under the cover caused by the explosion, taking shelter in a nearby building. Squad co-commander Ringer is skeptical of the whole situation. The others they fought seemed like humans, not the sinister evil aliens she's come to expect. This terrifying otherworldly force, scared of an army of kids? She doesn't buy any of it and thinks that Vosh has been lying to them. She said she plans to desert. Suddenly she begins to show green through their visors. She's controlled by an other, or is she? Zombie draws a flip knife and takes it to the back of his neck, removing the implant. He too suddenly starts to show green. They're not tracking aliens, simply people who don't have that device embedded in their necks. Ben finally understands. This was all a test to see if they could make the kids do their dirty work for them. The people who show up green through their visors aren't the others. Vosh and his military are. They can't ever go back to the base now that they've uncovered their secret. But Ben remembers he left Sam back at the base in an attempt to keep him safe. He knows what he has to do. He gets Ringer to shoot him so that he can convincingly return to the base. By night, Cassie and Evan are attacked. Their attacker recognizes Evan as an other, and after Evan kills him, Cassie draws her gun on him and makes him explain himself. He's not part of the new invasion. He was a sleeper agent sent in advance of the main invasion. He is more human than other. He hasn't been tricking her. He has no intention of killing her. He considered it when he first saw her, but something about her won him over. He reveals he killed the shooter who tried to kill her on the road, that he was overcome with a strange alien feeling for her.
Others don't believe in love, but something in Cassie has brought it out of Evan.
As honest as he seems, Cassie is too betrayed. She tells him to stay, that if he follows her to the base, he'll kill her. Ben returns to the base. His ruse about being shot by the others is successful, and he pretends that his whole squad are dead. Cassie also makes her way into the base, throwing herself in front of a bus and being brought before the same test to kill the child that Ben was put through. She's wise to it though, and she quickly attacks the soldier, disarming her and removing the implant from her back. She steals her uniform and infiltrates the base. Ben is questioned by Vash, who is having none of his lie. He asks Ben to speak plainly so that he can too. Ben reveals he knows Vash's secret, and Vash reveals that he will kill him for uncovering their lie. Their meeting is interrupted by an explosion in the base as the lights flash on and off and sirens sound. In the chaos, Ben and Cassie cross paths. She disarms him expertly using Evan's technique, but he calms her and tells her they're both on the same team. They both make their way to Sam and rescue him before he can be deployed to battle. The two are stopped in their tracks by soldiers who Evan immediately ambushes. He goes against Cassie's wishes and saves the day again. He's been planting explosives around the base, and he apologizes to Cassie for lying to her, that he chooses her over his other life, and they share one final kiss before he goes to continue sabotaging the base. Cassie and Ben find the hordes of children being ushered toward their deployment stage. She finds Sammy and quickly pulls him from the mass of frightened kids, and they find a safe place to hide while Ben removes his tracker. As they flee, Evan's explosives activate and the entire base begins exploding. As chunks of rubble and fire soar into the air, Ringer pulls up in a Humvee and ushers them all inside. The four of them drive off, leaving the chaos and rising column of smoke behind them. They reunite with Ben's squad and enjoy a rare moment of peace and bonding. Cassie is now hopeful. She believes that even though the others believe it's hope that makes humans weak, she believes it will save them.
The Fifth Wave is a fun, young adult fiction take on the classic Invasion of the Body Snatchers story, full of classic YA themes such as youthful sexual tension and rebelling against untrustworthy adults. It ticks off every box for the successful genre. Based on a trilogy of books, it's clear that this film was setting up another two sequels, as it leaves us with a very open-ended story, which is unfortunate, as by the end of this movie we get a strong sense that the story is only just beginning, and that it would have been pretty great to see how it resolved. Please subscribe to our channel to be notified when we upload. Also, don't forget to suggest movies that you want us to recap in the future in the comments down below.